Hello there, Big Brother Gossip fans. It is me, Mike, a.k.a. Big Brother Gossip. And is this day 4 in the Big Brother house or day 5? What are we at? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. No, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Technically, today is day 5 in the Big Brother house. You have not heard from me since I was walking home from the premiere or the second premiere party before the live feeds had technically even kicked in. And most of you or some of you know why that is. I was in New York attending premiere parties, and as I said, I got home Friday night or Thursday, late Thursday night, early Friday morning. I got back to my hotel room and I just crashed. I did not wait up for the live feeds to start. I got up in the morning and it was, again, not worth me trying to figure out what the heck was going on. I was tweeting. I have been tweeting about stuff, but I have not been glued to the feeds because I was still on vacation. I did watch a good hour or two of the live feeds on Friday. I haven't watched any of them today because basically I was getting ready to get back here to Indiana, which is where I am. I am now in Indiana. What time is it? It is 6 p.m. Big Brother time, 9 p.m. Eastern time, but because, sorry for that noise, I'll explain that in a second, because we're crazy here in Indiana and decided to try to keep our times always at the same time as the East Coast, when we are obviously much closer to Chicago and Central Time. It is 9 p.m. here, and the sun is just setting, but I can walk around the park with my dog, who is very excited to see us after having been gone for most of the week. And we're going to walk, and I'm going to talk about Big Brother. So that's what we're going to do. And I will talk about what's going on to the best of my knowledge, which is going to have lots of holes and lots of gaps in it. And then I will give you guys an update on the parties that I attended. I'm going to try to do a little bit of that too, because I don't want to dedicate time to it too much. But at the same time, I don't want to not talk about it while it's still fresh in my mind. I kind of want to talk about it and share it with you guys. So what I was saying, I was walking with the park with my dog. That also means picking up after my dog. My dog uses the restroom, which my dog did while I was doing that. So that was me getting a little baggie out to take care of her mess, which I've done. So, all right. What is going on? There will be a pregnant pause here while I pull up my little cheat sheet that has who's doing what. I do not have a cast list in my hands to look at names, so I'm going to read off names. But I do have a rudimentary grasp of what's going on in the house, and all I know is I got to get and watch some feeds tonight and hopefully watch some feeds tomorrow and get a much better feel. But it is wild and crazy in the house. There is all kinds of stuff going on. House guests are playing very hard. There was a POV competition today, and the POV has happened. We don't know, at least of what I'm telling you this, don't know when the Power Veto meeting is. We also don't know if there's going to be another competition or another kind of a thing, and I'll explain that in a second. But allow me to do the pregnant pause while I look up the cast, my notes, so that I can give you a rundown of what is going on in the house or where things stand as of Saturday. Like I said, 6 p.m. Big Brother time, or let's say 5 p.m. because I've been driving home. I don't think anything major has happened since the Power Veto competition ended, but you never know. So hang tight for a half a second your time and probably 30 seconds or so my time. All right, so we're going to keep recording while I jump back and forth here. Hopefully it doesn't stop recording, and I am also holding this in front of my face so I can read it. So Angela 1 had a household. She nominated yesterday Kenny, Chemo, and Lisa. It seemed like, I think her target was really Kenny, but nobody took it very well. From my understanding, her excuse was these are all people who didn't get mentioned as being ones that others wanted to keep. They didn't get mentioned a lot, and that was why Angela kind of went with them as being her nominations. That's what she said. Angela's also doing a lot of game playing and rehearsing what she wants to say to people, so don't take a solid read on everything she tells people as being the exact truth, right? And there's lots of little alliances and stuff going on here, which is still getting figured out by everybody. Then we also have have-nots. I can't even tell you who's have-nots right now. I have that written down somewhere else, but I can't even tell you. But Lisa today won the power veto, okay? So she's going to take herself off, right? There are 3 nominees, by the way. I mentioned that. Kenny, Chemo, and Lisa are the 3 nominees. There's been talk about there being 4 nominees, and we weren't sure how that's going to work, and we still kind of don't know how that's going to work. But for now, we have 3. We have 3 nominees, but one of them won the power veto. And so they are going to save themselves, obviously. And at least for now, it really seems very strongly like a very strong possibility that Angela will put Matt up as the renom. She's had some real big time run-ins with Matt. I'm not even sure what the deal is. Matt is extremely animated. People are making fun of his eyes because his expressions and everything. And she apparently this morning, again, and the video is out there. I've got to watch it. Someone's tweeted a video. Remember, we do not have the ability to rewind, so there are moments being lost, but there are a lot of people out there recording and sharing the videos. So it is there is an ability to see most of what is going on if it made the feeds at all. But there's like a 9-minute video of Angela going off on Matt, and I have to go back and watch that to catch up. So that's the reason it sounds like Angela's going to go after Matt. So Angela may go after Matt. McKinsey, one note, is apparently getting called MJ by a lot of people, so keep that in mind. I may switch to calling her MJ eventually. She won one of the upgrade powers, and that power is to, the way we understand that power is that she can use it like a power veto, but it's like called America's power veto, and it apparently means that she can use a veto and save someone, but then we, America, get to vote the renom, put up our own renom, and it's live and instantaneous. So I'm just not sure how that can be done, when that can work, how it can work. So we're just not sure, because normally the power veto is all done, pre-recorded anything. So we're not sure how that's going to work, if that's even been explained properly. We'll probably know more tomorrow night, but maybe as late as Wednesday, because usually the POV is shown on Wednesday. Also, Quinn has apparently won a power, and it is called, what I want to say, it's called the deep fake head of household is what they're calling it. Now, last I saw, we're even less sure how that works, but there's a lot of supposition going on that, it's kind of like an anonymous HOH. Maybe it's kind of like a coup where he can take over someone's head of household or something, but nobody knows who it is, or he can just choose to be we're just not sure. So take it for what it is. It's a lot of different potential powers. And there is also this thing called an AI power thing. And so I've been told that the AI thing, or what I've read is that people think that the AI thing has to do with the fake AI thing that they're showing, and that there's an AI competition in which there are 3 people that are nominated, right? Like I said, and that those 3 people will compete, and one of them will win safety. So we'll go from 3 nominees to 2 nominees based on the result of this AI thing. But we're not 100% sure that's accurate. We're not sure it's true. We're not sure if there's going to be 3 nominees at the end of the night on Thursday. We just don't know if there's, or when it comes to voting time, where it's murky, it's unclear. We'll get some explanation maybe on Sunday, maybe more on Wednesday. The house guests aren't 100% sure, so we're still sorting it all out. That is the basics, okay? As far as alliances, I ain't worried about that today. I am not going to worry about alliances. I'm just trying to figure out who's doing what. I've given you everything except for the have-nots. I could look those up, but you know what? I hate the have-nots, so I'm not going to look them up today. Maybe I'll tell you on Monday. I don't know if I'll do a podcast tomorrow, just because I usually don't do them on Saturday and Sundays. But, it's been a while. It's been a bit of a crazy week for me. So if there's lots of new information and things I can shed light on tomorrow, I may find time to give you an update tomorrow. So that's the gist on what is going on right now on Big Brother. As far as the live feeds go, again, the feeds are, they're live. The only difference, any of you can go to Pluto if you're in the U.S., because there's someone who's been asking me how they can watch it from Canada, and I would hope you could use a VPN, but he doesn't seem to be getting it to work for him, so I'm not sure. But if you're in the U.S., you can go to Pluto.tv, and you can search for Big Brother, and there are 5 channels, there are 4 cameras, and then there is the quad camera, just like last year. They do throw commercials at you. Some people hate them. Some people, that's enough for them. They can put up with the commercials if they're getting the free, quote, free feeds. So that's your one option. The other option is Paramount Plus, just the basic level. They didn't make it the premium like some of us panicked and thought it was going to be the upper tier that you had to have. The standard level works. There's no rewinding. There's no people who said, oh, if you do this, you can get some buffer. Well, you can get about a minute buffer. It's not great. And, people are still working up, but so far I mentioned liquidated, Friday night. I don't think they found a way to actually buffer it so you can really rewind. I know people that are doing recordings, just recording all the time. And I'm actually going to tinker around with one of my computers and see how much of a recording I can make, even if it's just the Pluto feeds, just recording that most of the time and then saving it, just in case someone says this happened at this time, and I can maybe go back and look for it. Hopefully, Pluto wasn't at a commercial when that happened. We'll see. We'll see what happens. That's my hope. But I really wish there was a better way to do it. If I can figure out how to record the actual CBS live feeds or the Paramount live feeds, which don't have commercials, I will just record the quad cam, all the time, save it, and have it around. And if there's a way to share it, after the fact, we'll see. I doubt that. I don't think it's going to really work, and it's probably more work than it's worth. But there's part of me that just doesn't want to miss things, and there are important things that happen. People say things, and you need to be able to hear what they said. So that is the state of the streams, right? All right, we've covered current Big Brother. We have covered the state of the streams. I will take a pause here to tell you a little bit about me for those of you that are brand new to me doing a podcast, and then I will talk about Wednesday and Thursday's premiere night, right? All right, so, again, my name is Mike, a.k.a. BB Gossip on Twitter. I have been watching the live feeds since the very first season. I have been involved in some type of sharing of information about the live feeds since the very first season, when we started doing live feed reporting, when there was no rewinding, just like there isn't anymore. When it was very 56 kilobyte connection if you were lucky, a grainy picture, and people were just writing down everything that was happening. It's just we're kind of like that way now, except for it's much easier for people to record video and share video. So that is a bit of a nicety compared to how it was back in the year 2000. Yes, it's been 24 freaking years since I've been watching this show. And what's funny is, speaking of Wednesday and Thursday, wait a minute before I get to that. So what do you do? If any of you, I'm going to do my little plug. I haven't done a plug hardly at all. If any of you would like to support me in my endeavor, I am a live feed affiliate, but frankly, it ain't worth the time to annoy you guys plugging the live feed, signing up for it for the amount of money that I could possibly make off of it. So I stopped doing that. Even though I'm still an affiliate, I direct people to your favorite site or Hamster Watch. If you don't have a favorite site, look them up, do that. Those that want to support me, first of all, by listening to this podcast, you are supporting me. Share this with your friends. There are commercials at the end of this podcast. I do not stick commercials in the middle of this podcast, other than if you consider this commercial. I put a couple of commercials at the end of every podcast. If you listen to those, I get a couple of pennies, right? And so over the course of the season, I make a few bucks to cover my costs for my websites and stuff. But this is not a, there's no, it's a net. I would say in the end, it's a net negative, especially after the fact that I just went to New York and spent, two nights and hotel and air and everything just to go to this thing and meet people. And that's a bonus. I got to do that. But I certainly spent a lot more money than I make in the course of a season anymore doing that. But it was well worth it. So, again, you can listen to the commercial at the end of this, or you can also become a patron. I have a few people who are patrons who I love them dearly, and I appreciate them. You can go to patreon.com/BBGOSSIP. You can sign up, put down whatever amount you want. There's different tiers, but you can put anything at a minimum of $1 is what Patreon requires. So you can choose any of those tiers or whatever, and you can just cap your limit for a month at $1, and then you only get charged $1 a month. So check it out. Sign up if you want. Cancel anytime you want. There is also Ko-fi, KO-FI. There's a link on my Twitter account. Is another way that you can sign up and choose the amount you want to donate. All right, enough plugs. On with talking about the show or the premiere parties. All right, so I have known back in about 2000 and whatever year Adam from Big Brother, 14? The year after Adam was on Big Brother 14, I think he started doing premiere parties out in New York. And he hooked up with a guy named Joe, and the two of them did them for quite a few years. Matter of fact, for a lot of years. And I had interactions with Joe online, and I'd said I'd always love to come out. It'd be so cool. But you know what? I had kids. I had a full-time job. My wife, I still have a full-time job, but it was not a good time in my life 12 years ago where I could take off a couple of days or 3 days and fly out to New York in the middle of the summer. I wasn't going to leave my kids to go out on a little fun party trip in New York. And so I never went, but Joe always said I was welcome to come out. And this year, after going up to Chicago, which I've talked about previously, I thought, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to go out to New York. And I told my wife, and I told Joe, and Joe said, come on out. You'd be welcome. And my wife was like, go ahead and go. And then eventually my wife decided to go with me, which was fine. She did not go to the parties because she still isn't a Big Brother fan, but she was involved a little bit. So we'll talk about that in a second. I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be the abbreviated version because I'm about done walking this dog. So I had this all set up. I got this all in my agenda. I said, I'm flying out on Tuesday. Since my wife decided to come along, we stayed until today. So Tuesday to Saturday. Now, if I ever do it again, or if I had done it this week by myself, I would have probably just flown out on Wednesday and flown back on Friday and just been out, bam, do the couple of events and come back because I don't mind traveling alone, but the parties themselves are a pretty confined time. It was like 7 o'clock until midnight-ish is when I think I left. I think I left after around 11:30 or midnight Thursday night. I know I was there till after 1 on Wednesday night because I closed the place down because I was the last one there. I just like talking to everybody that was there, so I just stayed. So we got out there. My wife and I got out there on Tuesday, checked into our hotel. I picked a hotel that was fairly close to the events. My wife and I did some stuff. And then Mr. Joe asked if I wanted to go out to dinner because he was out there. And I was like, okay, because I'd never met Joe in person. And he's like, so let me go back a step. So a couple of years ago, Azza decided to start helping with the parties. Adam had enough. I talked to Adam actually on Thursday. He's like, yeah, I just couldn't do it anymore. He was there, but he just didn't. It was just a lot of work. And Aza does promotions and stuff, and so she kind of took it over. So Joe's like, hey, I'm meeting up with Aza for dinner. Do you want to go out to dinner? And I'm like, oh, okay. And so my wife did join us. So we met up with Joe and Aza, and we had dinner at a Korean barbecue place, and it was awesome. It was so cool. Just a dinner, just sitting at dinner with Joe, who I had never met before, and Aza, who I obviously had never met before, and we just had conversations. It was about, maybe 20% Big Brother and, 80% other stuff. What do you do? What does Aza do? What does Joe do? What do I do? What does my wife do? Just general conversation. And nicest people in the world. Afterwards, when we were going back to the hotel, my wife was like, oh, she was lovely. She was so cool. And the same about Joe. He was great. And so it was a really cool thing. I would guess that most of you listening to this are very jealous. I would be very jealous. It's like, that is so cool. That was such a cool experience to get to spend and to hang out with Aza. And she, again, so nice, so friendly, so warm. I talked to several people over the course of the next 2 nights who all said that she is just amazing and she knows everybody's names. That's something I've noticed about these house guests, these former house guests. Once they talk to you, they remember you. And there's a reason they were on Big Brother, right? All these people, they remember things. They remember names. They remember all that stuff. They are good at that stuff. That's probably one of the traits that gets them on the show, is that they have really, really good, sharp memories. So, had a great time on Tuesday night. On Wednesday night, the first night of the premiere, I went to the party. And I've talked a little bit about that because I recorded walking home from... did I record walking home from both of them? I don't remember now which I did, but I recorded walking home from them. But just to summarize, the bigger party of the two was Wednesday night. There were more people there. There was more celebrities there, but there was still a ton the second night. But there were some people that were there the first night that went on to do other things the second night, like Derek Frazier was at the first night, but not at the second night. Some other people I knew were at the first night, but not the second night. But I'm telling you, there was a core group. There was a lot, and I shared tons of pictures on my Twitter timeline of people. I didn't get pictures with a few people because I had their pictures from Chicago. Jag and Corey and America. I think that may have been it that were there that I didn't get a picture with. I didn't get a picture with Taylor. So I think I've already talked about that a little bit in my Taylor talking experience. So if you missed that one, you need to go back and listen to another episode. But I did talk about talking with Taylor in one of my recent podcasts. So, but met all these people. It's just a wonderful event. It is not an event to go to watch the premiere for sure, because both nights it was so loud in the venues that you could not hear it. You could watch them on closed caption, but you could not hear what was being said very well. The second night was better in that we kind of knew the gist of the show and what was going on, and so we could keep track a little bit better. The first night was very confusing, especially the AI stuff, like what is going on the screen. But yeah, I was thinking about this, thinking, I did a long recap of my Rob Has a Podcast party and get together and talking with people. And I don't have as much to say about this one, only because it's what do you say? I talked to so-and-so, I talked to so-and-so, I talked to so. Every one of the former house guests was gracious and nice and friendly and warm and, had conversations. That's what I was going to say. The first night, a lot of people, a lot of things going on. The second night, still a lot of people, but not quite as busy, it was a smaller venue, but it was still quite crowded, quite busy. But I was able to have longer conversations with some people that I couldn't even talk to the night before. I sat there, I ended up sitting next to Riley at the bar at one point, and we just kind of started laughing and joking and talking, and we only had a 5-minute conversation. And at some point I was talking about, I said, do you have Twitter? She's like, no, I don't have Twitter. She says, I have Instagram. I said, yeah, I don't really have Instagram, but I was fumbling with my phone to try to get to pull up my Instagram account, which again, I really don't have one, but I did put a bunch of pictures on it yesterday. But then I just thought, you know what? I just started recording a video and just had her and said, say hi or something. I think I did that. I have to go back and look at the video. And then I tweeted it out because people were watching the Twitter timeline during the show. So on Thursday night, I tweeted a live thing of Riley. Nicest person in the world, again, just like everybody else. The house guests all seem to get along. They're all very talkative, all very friendly. How many times can I say that? I don't know. I can keep saying it. But I'm sorry, I'm lost my train of thought here. Let me pause for 1 second and gather myself. So give me 1 second. Okay, so both nights, watched the shows. Second night, could tell a little bit more was going on. Second night was easier to talk to the house guests that were there. I had several conversations with people. If you were there the first night, some of them recognized you from the previous night. I will say, and I think I tweeted about this, if you wanted to talk to Corey in America, good luck. They were hounded all night long. They were the center of everyone's attention. And I didn't really talk to them. I think I said hi Wednesday night. I'm pretty sure I did because I know that America was kind of like, she remembered me from Chicago. And she said hi, but that was it. I didn't try to get pictures. I already had a picture with her from Chicago. And I just didn't feel like intruding on their space because they were just so hounded by everybody. I know where I was going to go next. So the next thing is a little bit of a cool thing for me. And I don't know if any of those people that I talked to Wednesday or Thursday that knew me ahead of time listened to my podcast. Hopefully some of them do now, but they may not have made it this far into it. But anyways, some of the people I talked to, Danielle, I think, Nathan, I talked to an Andy. I don't think Andy would listen to this. There was a Brian I talked to. I talked to some sequester people, but there were people that came up to me and knew me. And I'll talk specifically about, I think it's Danielle and Nathan, the first two people I talked to Wednesday night. So I've arrived there. I've talked to Joe. Joe's let me in. I've kind of walked around and there was an upstairs outdoor area. I go upstairs and I'm out on the porch and I walk out on this landing area, outdoor bar. And actually I'll throw another person, but I'm going to throw this guy into the bus, Nick. So I walk up and I see a guy on a couch that looks exactly like a person I've known for like 5 or 6 or 7 years from Twitter only. I've known him only online, but we've exchanged lots of conversation. We've had conversations and he participated in the sequesters. So I kind of knew him from there. And I'm like, that's Nick. I'm thinking that's Nick, but he's looking at me, but he doesn't kind of give me kind of a glance of recognition. So I get out my phone and I'm trying to pull up, my Twitter account because I'm trying to look up Nick in my DMs to kind of say, hey, Nick, are you here? And while I'm doing this, he gets up and he leaves the area with the friends he was with. Meanwhile, another person, Danielle, comes up and she recognizes me and she talks to me. She's a longtime fan and Danielle was great. And so I'm like, cool. And we sit down and we just start talking about Big Brother and just start talking about stuff. And while we're talking, and I'm still looking up Nick, another person, Nathan, I know his name now, but he's kind of looking at me from across the way. And I just see this, his eyes light up and he kind of gets up and he goes, are you BB Gossip? I'm like, yes. And it was just so cool to have that, and I talked to Nathan both nights and Danielle both nights. Very cool people. That happened to me at least 4, maybe 5 times both nights, where people came up and talked to me. And that is the coolest thing in the world. I actually recognized a couple of people, and I had that moment where I'm like, are you so-and-so? They're like, yeah. I'm like, oh, that's cool. So good to meet you. So it went both ways. I had a funny one as far as house guests go. And again, apologies if I've told you guys this story already, because I don't remember what I said when I was walking home late at night, either of those 2 nights, just because that was a blur. It was all such a blur. I have just taken a selfie with Derek. So I grabbed Derek Frazier. He was walking by. I got a quick selfie with him and said hi. He was generous, very friendly. We took a couple of quick pictures. And as we were talking, another gentleman walked up to Derek and started talking to him, and they started talking, and I just kind of stepped away because that's kind of what you do. They go from person to person. You just gotta realize he's done talking to you, and not in a bad way. He's on talking to somebody else now, and so I kind of stepped away and started to walk away, and suddenly I get this tap or touch on my shoulder, and it's like, hey, you got to get a picture with me if you're gonna get a picture with Big Brother people, or however he said it. And I kind of turned around and looked at him like, wait a minute, and it was like. I'm like, Will Mega from, and those of you that don't know who I'm talking about, well, you're showing your age, or lack of your age, or lack of your Big Brother fandom. Will Mega was the very first house guest ever evicted from Big Brother on season 1. So he technically only lasted 2 weeks, right? But it was quite a momentous 2 weeks. And I told him when I talked to him, I said, you would have lasted a lot longer in every other season, but the public got to vote out and you were too polarizing and too controversial. So, and he was very nice, very friendly. I told him what I did way back in the day then. And I just said, it's a pleasure to meet you. And again, very friendly, very nice. Took a few pictures with me. I posted those. That was kind of that would be one of the highlights of my nights, talking to someone who goes that far back, right? Fast forward to Wednesday night or Thursday night, I also got to talk to Monica from season 2. I knew she was there the night before, but I didn't see her. I missed her. And Lawan was also there from season 14. And I hadn't had a chance to talk to him. There was people that there were Big Brother people there, at least the first night that I missed, and I'm kind of mad that I missed them and I didn't get to talk to them because I wanted to talk to every one of them, thank them for coming. But I ended up talking to Lawan and Monica. I took a picture with them. I don't know if any of the people that are from TV Clubhouse still listen to this, but I mentioned to Monica because, Monica's cousin was in one of the towers when it went down during 9/11, and TV Clubhouse really kind of was one of those groups that kind of did things of support, and they got like a quilt together for her, and they did all kinds of stuff for her. For Monica, because again, she was stuck in the house after all this went on, and the production had to tell her, your sister, or not your sister, not your cousin, you're sorry, not your sister, your cousin, didn't make it, kind of a thing. And that's tough, and yet she came through it. She said nice things, she posted nice things online. And I wanted to share this, and I will eventually share this with my TV Clubhouse folks that I haven't talked to in like once a year. I show up with them and say, hey, guys. But she said she still has all those things from 2000, or from 2001, I'm sorry. She still has all the stuff that the TV Clubhouse and other people, I'm sure, gave her. So that was a really cool thing. It just tells you all the Big Brother. I'm telling you, man, I can't say it time and time, but all those house guests that were there, friendly, nice, warm, take a picture with anybody, talk to anybody. And so I would just encourage anybody to go to this kind of events. Now, by the way, and let me be clear, this was not a free event. There was a charge. There was a cover charge to get in. But I think, so let's get to the money talk, because I'm not shy about talking about money. I believe when the tickets first popped online, you could get both nights for $50 total. I think it may have been like $55. And then at the end, it was like $50 for one night. Once they had sold enough tickets, they kind of jacked up. They had different levels and stuff. But if you would sign up right away, you could go there. Now, keep in mind, that gets you in the door. That doesn't get you anything else. And I want to say this so you understand. Nobody was getting free drinks. Everybody, house guests were buying their own drinks. I've been to 2 different events now. Rob has a podcast event, and it is not like this is some thing where you're getting free stuff when you show up. You're just paying to get in the door, and that's fine because it's a lot of work. Again, I listened to Azza talking about everything she had to do to get ready, and of course they're organizing it. And I think they do help the house guests that show up with like hotel space or something. But other than that, again, I watched credit cards being pulled out and people paying for drinks. But it was very cool, very fun. best time I've had. I enjoyed the Rob Has a Podcast thing, but of course that was Survivor based. This was Big Brother, and I'm telling you, man, it was such a blast. And I haven't told my wife yet, and maybe someone else will, or maybe my sister will if she's listening to this. But I would love to go to it next year. We'll see what happens. But if there's a Chicago event now, by gosh, yes, I'm going to it to check it out and to say hi to people, because I could just go to those things and it was just fun to hang out. I went by myself. Go by yourself. You don't have to go with somebody. That's what I told these people, that were there, that came up and talked to me. It's like, look, come find me. I will talk to you. Nathan, he was, like I said, he tweeted about getting to meet me. And I said, it was nice that I knew that any time of the night I could find Nathan and I could just say, hey, how's it going? And we could talk. There was I didn't have to hide in a corner or just kind of sit and feel like I didn't know anybody. Same goes with Danielle. Same goes with several other people that I talked to. I could just talk to anybody. And at the end of the second night, I walked out and I kind of had enough. And, like Wendell from Survivor is sitting there, and I walked up and talked to him, just went up and sat down next to him, talked to him. And he was so gracious and so nice. We talked about the GOAT. And I actually told him about the Joe Schmo show, the season 4, that they seem to have the name of their fake show is called The GOAT. And he kind of chuckled about that. Or he was very polite to me if he didn't care. But then at the very end of the night, I walked out and there was Rockstar sitting out. I watched this. Here you go. So the actual house guests, right? They got together before the party, someplace, I don't know where, and kind of had their pre-party. And then towards the end of the evening, like we're talking 11:30 or something, I see all of the house guests walking out at the same time together. Because guess what? They're going to another party. They're going to their own private little party as well. And so they were heading off to their own private party, which, again, totally entitled to do. Why shouldn't they be? They gave their all for at least 3 hours, I think. At least 3 hours, if not 4, to the public. So they were heading off. And I saw them and I'm like, okay, well, I shouldn't say that. Azza, when I left Thursday night, Azza was still there. She was still there partying with all the fans, but the rest of the folks had kind of headed on their way. But Azza was dancing. It was a disco theme. She was dancing and stayed there. But I kind of said, okay, I've had enough. I'm going to head out. I said goodbye to people, thank them. And as I walk out, there's Angela, Rockstar, sitting outside at a table with her boyfriend. And I had already talked to her a couple times before, but I went down and sat down and talked to her. And her boyfriend, and we just had a nice little chat for a few minutes, just general conversation, just nice stuff. And then they jumped in an Uber, and I just walked back to my hotel. But I'm telling you, I can't say it time and time again. It was a great time. I don't know if I'll talk about this again because I tend to repeat stories. And so if there's something else I come up with, I will let you guys know. Or if you have questions about somebody, I can tell you what interactions I had. I mean, I had some kind of interaction with every picture I posted, right? There's pictures there. I did talk to the people too for at least a minute or two. We talked to Jag's brother for quite a bit at one point. Talked to Jag because Jag has his hand in like a cast, and he was telling us made up stories about why he was in a cast. But it was fun, great time. And you know what? With that, I think I'm going to wrap this up because I've actually done an extra loop. It's actually starting to get kind of dark, and I'm going to head on out of here and talk to you guys either Sunday or Monday, and we'll just be back to talking about the current season of Big Brother and what is going on. So I hope you enjoyed this little play-by-play of my time in New York after the regular update. And again, if you have any questions, though, by all means, feel free to tweet at me or email me, and I can tack on answers to that at the end of a future podcast. All right? Thanks again, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow or Monday.